You're also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to
You
criminate.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main
You
intent
have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent
Are
to
you a
criminate.
known racketeer?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to criminate.
Officer named Winkleman of the Elizabeth
You ever
Police.
get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of these that I've been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettes?
No.
You
I
did-
don't even speak to the... I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
No.
You're also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to
You
criminate.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main
You
intent
have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent
Are
to
you a
criminate.
known racketeer?
Good evening, folks. Welcome to Smoke Show Sunday night. We got a good show tonight. We're going to talk about some smoked pork ribs, smoked spatchcock chicken, and smoked flank steak, a real thin piece of meat that you can smoke. I want to encourage everyone to retweet this out. X doesn't allow me to send out invites ahead of time to promote it, but so we can get some listeners in here to give us some comments back and forth on what we've got going on. Tonight, we've got with us Bruce Wayne, co-host of the Night Court Show, James, co-host of the Night Court Show, and Vet LT3, co-host of the Night Court Show, and our good friend, legacy speaker Jason, who brings us some tasty gifts from Minnesota, believe it or not. I'm still shocked, second week in a row, but we have a fine submission by Jason tonight on a spatchcock chicken, which I was kind of impressed with. But I understand, and also, folks, Bruce Wayne currently, as we speak right now, is smoking a brisket. He's smoking a brisket, and we're going to get some live updates on that. Bruce, are you anywhere where you can give us a glimpse of what you got going on? Smoking on a pellet smoker, right?
I sure can, and yes, I am. Yeah, so I just followed your advice. We're still smoking a little hot. Looks like I need to open it, so works perfect. We got some good bark growing here, just right on the edges. It's still a little moist, lack of convection or lack of airflow, just because the convection. But yeah, it's turning out pretty good so far.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't look horrible, my friend. How much more time you think you got on that?
Well, it was at 150 last I checked, so got a little bit longer.
Good deal. Good deal. I also want to welcome James. How you doing tonight, James?
Feeling all right. Just enjoying the smoke. Can't wait to do it myself.
Sweet. And then Vet LT3 brought us our pork ribs tonight. How you doing, Vet?
I'm doing good, enjoying the life of back to school shopping. So I'm here, brother, but it was a lot of fun smoking those ribs. They were delicious.
I think smoking those ribs might be more fun than back to school shopping, but that could be just me.
No, you got that on the head, buddy. You got that right on the head.
Hey, folks, if you're listening, the chat is open. If you want to make comments or throw in your 2 cents on any of the things that we talk about or the projects that we've smoked, we'll throw your comments up on the screen and we can have that conversation here. But you know what? First, I want to go to Minnesota. Jason, talk to us about this spatchcock chicken.
Basically, it's extremely easy to do. You just gotta, know how to cut the backbone out of a bird and flatten it out. Give it a heavy dose of seasoning, and just let the grill do its work.
Why do you like the spatchcock? What's your purpose in doing that?
It cooks evener. It doesn't take as long. You can get more consistent heat throughout the bird. It's kind of equivalent of throwing a steak on a grill. You don't have the void of the chest cavity in there, and it just cooks more evenly.
You know what? I agree. I spatchcock, whether it be a turkey or chicken. I don't know real small birds, but chicken and above. I spatchcock because I think it cooks more evenly. Exactly what you said. I think it cooks better, and I think it's also Makes it easier to get a good crispy skin on it. But let's see how easy it is because Jason filmed this for us. So let's take a look. Found the soundtrack for Minnesota.
Oh God. Actually, that's pretty good, Joe.
That's too good.
That's a lot of loons.
So we're doing meat church heavy. Looks like tonight.
Yes. I always brine any poultry I do. I brine it. What the?
Okay, let's talk about this brine real quick. This is a bird baptism brine from Meat Church. So you mix it up about per the directions, right?
Yep. I put the whole damn bag in there and kind of guesstimated the water and just stirred it up real good. And then I cooked 2 birds. So I put the 2 birds in a 3-gallon Ziploc bag and mixed the water in. And then I let it sit for about 6 to 8 hours. Can't remember.
So pretty much overnight in the fridge is going to be a good brine, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I've never used a bird baptism brine. In fact, I've never used a brine other than making it myself with salt and water. So I'm kind of interested in that. I kind of like that. But let's see what happens next. Okay, so using a knife to cut the skin and the meat around from the backbone there, right?
Yeah, just kind of creating my guide marks for. I actually use a landscaping pruning tool that I just use for cutting meat. I tried the ones you buy for cooking, and these suckers will cut a 2-inch diameter piece of wood, and they work much better. But makes easy work of it. Just basically pulling the backbone out.
So you're cutting the flesh near on both sides of the backbone from top to bottom here, right? Is that what's happening?
Yep. And that just kind of pulls out.
So yeah, those are literally Fisker shears, right, for cutting landscaping.
Yep.
Limbs and stuff. Okay, I can see that would work real well. Looks like it's doing a good job.
So there, the backbone's out.
Backbone's out.
I just gotta slice open the breastbone. Some people pull the breastbone out. I always leave it in.
Yeah, you know, I've never actually cut it. I turn it over and do just what you're doing there and just crack it. But I kind of like your idea. You see, folks. See if folks how that lays out real flat. It makes for cooking a lot easier. Now we're going to season it. So you've got Blanco Meat Church, and then it looks like all-purpose rub, the Gospel all-purpose rub from Meat Church here. Am I right?
Yeah, I went Blanco. Blanco is kind of a steak season. I went with that on the bottom of the bird, and I applied it pretty liberally. It's a butter, garlic, salt and pepper kind of mixture. And then I went with the Gospel on the top, which is more of just a basic seasoning. And I went pretty liberally.
So you got one side seasoned one way, one side seasoned another way, right?
Yep.
Interesting.
Gotta say, I love this music.
Birds look good.
I can't stop laughing with the frogs and the loons. Oh God.
Okay, here we got our finished product. It looks like you've got good color on them. How was the skin? Was skin crispy or rubbery? I mean, how'd that come out?
No, the one thing when I cook it, I typically I think I smoked it at 250 until the bird hit about 140 degrees, and then I cranked it up to 325, and I finished it that way, hoping that increase in heat would crispy it up. I wish, looking back, I wish I would have spritzed it or put a butter glaze on it to make it a little more crispy. It was by no means rubber, but it was not as crispy as I would like. It still tasted great. I think when you brine a bird, getting crispy skin gets a little bit harder because of all the moisture that absorbs during the brine. But I personally would rather have more of a juicy bird than crispy, like real crispy skin. So to do it again next time, I think I'm going to try to spritz it with something that's going to crispen up the skin a little bit before I crank up the heat. But it turned out good. It tasted amazing.
I think a butter based, you're right, but after the smoke, a light butter based on it would help that skin crisp up. But I'm like you. I won't do fried chicken, or I won't do any other chicken without a brine. I think that you're missing out when you don't brine the chicken. But overall, was this a hit?
Oh yeah.
Everyone in the house was happy.
Yeah, the first one was for eating. The second one we're gonna make into chicken salad, chicken pasta. Just kind of shred it up and use it for lunch this week.
It doesn't sound horrible. Let's finish out the video just for the soundtrack. What's up with the knives with holes in them?
You know, I got those at Mills Fleet Farm. It was, is that my dog?
No, that's not your dog. You know, I'm proud of myself. Each one of those animal tracks were a different track, and I laid them in there so that, it all went together. Crickets all the way through, and then the loons coming in, and of course your chickens and the dogs barking. But it sounds like you were smoking chickens in the swamp down South Louisiana.
No, I came across those knives at there were 2 packs of 2 for $4, and I don't think you need to spend $150 on a knife. These suckers are holding an edge, and they're sharp as hell. But I like them. I don't know the name brand of them, but it was a cheap deal. I tried them out, and we've kept them ever since.
Well, yeah, it looked effective. I saw you cutting down on the backbone of that. But who did I step on? Go ahead.
Oh no, I think I stepped on you. But I was gonna say, yeah, I spent $15 on a 12-inch brisket knife, and it is working well. It is still working well. So yeah, I was just gonna agree that you don't need to spend an arm and a leg on one.
Yeah, the sharpest knife I got, I bought it at a Mexican, they call them Mexican meat markets down here, where you can go get beef or chicken. It's already pre-marinated, throw it on the grill for like parties and things. But it's Musa, M-U-S-A, and that damn thing will cut your finger off if you don't watch it. It's and I want to say I spent less than $10 on the knife. So I agree, you don't have to spend a bunch of money, but a good knife is key. But Bruce, what do you think about that chicken? Is that a recipe you think you could follow?
I think that's delicious. I am not only do I think I could follow it, I think I am going to follow it. That looks something that is on my must-try list.
Well, when you do, we want a video of that to see how yours comes out. That's kind of the purpose. We'll take some of these recipes and trade them out. James, what'd you think about that? You a big fan of chicken?
I certainly am. I never tried anything spatchcocked, but I would certainly willing to try. That looked great.
I'll tell you, on Thanksgiving, I spatchcock the turkey, bake it. Sometimes I fry, but bake it either way. When it comes out, I can debone it. The only bones that are left in it when we plate it, put it on the platter, is the leg bones and the wings. And then what you can do, but you set it back up. It looks like a regular turkey. You set it back up on the platter, and it sets like a normal turkey. Then you can take your carving knife, and you can cut straight through the breast, cutting your pieces off. So it's actually a pretty cool little deal. But when you spatchcock one, you can go back and take all the bones out from the inside, leaving nothing but the meat. But it's not all beat up. It still looks like a bird when you're done. Pro tip.
So I did the same thing last Thanksgiving, but I have you ever done Alabama white sauce?
I don't know, but this is a family show.
No, I'll send you a link, smartass.
We've done that sauce before, Jason. It is very good.
Well, Vet, what do you think about Jason's smoked barbecue chicken recipe with the meat church?
Well, I did the spatchcock a few weeks ago, and I used the saltwater brine. You got me intrigued. I'm gonna check out that brine, brother, and I'm gonna check it out and see if I can get some, because I'm gonna try my hand this Thanksgiving at doing that with a turkey, like you were talking about, Joe, and spatchcocking it. So it'll be my first time doing that for Thanksgiving, and yeah, it looks fantastic, brother. And I did like what you were talking about. I spritzed my bird with an apple cider spritz, and the skin came out a little crispy, and the meat was still juicy, moist. So yeah, no, that looks fantastic, brother. I wouldn't take it off my plate. I'll tell you that right now. Put a little bit of some greens on the side. I eat that right up.
I tell you what, for Thanksgiving, I'll smoke a turkey. I'll spatchcock it. And I'll do it before Thanksgiving, and we'll put a video up so you can use that. And I'll show you how I do the carving, taking the bones out. But also on poultry for the skin, if you'll take a flat beer or put beer in a pan and just bring it up to temperature, not quite boiling, but just bring it up to temperature where it's steaming a little bit, it'll take the fizz out of it. Let it cool. Put it in a spritz bottle with a little bit of water to cut it. It does seem to help with crisping up that skin on poultry. So when I do poultry, my spritz usually has a flat beer in it.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Yeah, I'll try that for the turkey this Thanksgiving too. Sounds great.
Well, good deal. I tell you what, Vet, let's take a look at your pork ribs. Now, Vet, you did look like two sides of pork ribs. Are these spare rib or baby back?
Spare ribs.
Okay, so lower hanging, got a little more meat on them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so and you prep these look like with some meat church stuff as well. Although I didn't have exactly what you've got going on as far as what meat church you're using. No, you didn't use meat church at all. What was your dry rub?
It's Kinder's. I use all-purpose Kinder's dry rub, and then one of our favorites, and freshly ground pepper and some salt, of course, and did that on both sides. And then whenever you want, I'll take you through the process of what I did.
Well, let's take a look at pork ribs by Vet LT3 out of Kentucky, folks. Sexy in Kentucky.
Why does he get good music, Joe?
You didn't like yours?
Oh, I did. I'm just kidding.
What I put on the ribs right now, just put crushed black pepper, some salt, and some brown sugar hickory seasoning from Kinder's.
So we got black pepper going on, right? Grinding pepper on. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yes, sir. Freshly ground pepper, putting it all over there. Very not shy with it, I'll tell you that right now. And my mistake, I guess I heard myself. I used the brown hickory brown sugar Kinder's rub on there, not all-purpose. And I guess I went with the hickory because that's the smoke I used, was a hickory smoke.
So you want to complement it? Do you use liquid smoke too to help complement your smoke?
No, man, no. I was told by a Texan we don't use liquid smoke. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I don't care if my seasoning has smoke flavor in it.
Yep, there it is. But yeah, definitely used a heavy hand when it came to the pepper and to the brown sugar hickory seasoning. A little light on the salt. Didn't want to go too heavy on the salt. I didn't want to dry it out. As you could hear from my wife, it was really good. And also threw some jalapeno poppers on there since I did that last smoke show and it was a hit. And the wife and son were like, "Hey, you gonna do that again?" So I did that again. A little different twist on it. I cut them after the show. I heard you and Jason talk about splitting them down the middle and canoeing them, and that's what I did this time around.
Did you like that better?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, way better. It was way better, yes. A lot easier to wrap the bacon around also, and just a lot easier to eat it without the freaking cream cheese shooting out of one end.
Okay, so you put your dry rub, salt and pepper on, and then you refrigerated overnight. It was
Yep.
just cinematic picture. Watch this. Watch this.
Oh yeah, look
That
at
was
that.
good. You like
Oh,
that?
yeah. And then yes, I pulled it out of the fridge and let it get to room temp before I put it on the smoker. Got the smoker up to temp, and the temp we're going here was 275, a constant 275.
Look at that, pouring every last little piece of juice back on top of it.
You know it.
Now, how long did you smoke?
So I did 2 hours unwrapped, and then I did 2 hours wrapped in aluminum foil.
So 2
total of
hours. So
4.
you got a 2 hour smoke.
Yeah, 2 hours straight smoke.
That's
Yes, sir.
I hit the wrong button here. Let me get back to where we're at. Okay, when the picture there is, so you're 2 hours of smoke, you're about to wrap. Is that where we're at?
This is probably about an hour and a half. I wanted to spritz it one more time before I let it take it off and wrap it, because I wasn't be able to spritz it again. So I decided to take this real quick while I was spritzing, like about an hour and a half mark.
Okay, it looks like you're getting good smoke penetration. You can see it on the bone ends. You can see it on the redness in the meat. So it's looking pretty good there. Okay. Don't know why that says title text. Don't know why that says title text either. The wrap. Okay, this is coming out. This is the finished product there, right?
Yes. I took a quick pic, unwrapped, took a look at it, took a quick picture, and then let it sit for about 30 minutes. And then, as you can see here, I took a chunk off the end after it sat, and there it is.
So how'd we get on tenderness?
Oh, it was ridiculously tender. The bones came straight out. Like, as soon as you grab the bones, it just pulled straight out of the meat, buddy. Yeah. You know, it's just so tender. And I was a little worried about the salt and it sitting and maybe not having enough moisture in there. Didn't have to. It was perfect. It was plenty good.
Okay, the salt does a pretty important thing. It helps draw. You don't want a lot of moisture in your meat. That's why a good fine steaks are sometimes salt cured or aged. Part of the aging process that makes it better is get some of the evaporation of some of the moisture that's outside the meat. So don't be afraid of the salt. Don't get it to the point where it's it ruins the flavor. It's too strong on the flavor, but don't be concerned about the salt on the meat. It's a good thing.
All right. But yeah, it was good. People came back for seconds and thirds, and my wife said the word that you want to hear, that we all want to hear: don't need any sauce. I was like, that's right. There we go. And no sauce was used in the eating of this rib.
Okay. Did you do any trimming of the fat and then have some to render?
Well, what I did was there wasn't much fat to trim. I guess it was already trimmed off pretty well. But what I did do is there was a pan underneath the ribs, and I just pretty much took the pan out and just put it on top, and just like what you saw with the pan when I first put it on there, and just poured it over top of it just to throw it back in there. And that's about it. But yeah, I guess whoever, cut the piece of rib, they really didn't leave a lot of fat on there.
Okay, good. Now, it will help add moisture back to reabsorption once you wrap it and start bringing it up to temperature. So good idea right there, I think. Bruce, what do you think about them pork ribs?
Well, I think I would probably eat them all. That that looks fantastic. Just they almost look just flaky the way they fall off that rib right there. That looks fantastic.
And I'll tell you, to make a pork rib and people don't want sauce, because pork, if you don't do it right, doesn't have a lot of flavor. If you can't get the smoke into it, if you don't do it correctly, pork just doesn't have a lot of flavor. So you want the barbecue sauce on top for some flavor. For the fact that people eat your pork ribs without barbecue sauce is a testament to your method. So good job on that. James, what'd you think about pork ribs? You a big fan of pork ribs?
Eat pork ribs probably at least 4 times a year. Not a huge fan, but big enough. And that looked like a meal for one.
That's what I'm saying. I think I would have eaten them all myself.
Well, my teenage son tried to. I tell you that.
Good man.
Now, good deal. How many of the poppers did you make?
Oh, I cut up about I think 5 or 6 jalapenos, man, poppers, and they were gone. I wrapped some in bacon and then some I didn't, and both came out great.
Very good. Jason, what do you think about those pork ribs? You got any pointers?
Your end result looked amazing. That made me hungry, actually, wanting to make pork ribs now. Nice job. Side note, did you add shredded cheddar cheese to your poppers?
I sure did this time, sir. I sure did.
There you go. And then another question for you, that you got an Oklahoma Joe. I've been looking. So I have a charcoal grill, a pellet grill, an open flame, and I've been looking at the offset stuff because of this stupid group. Is that pretty easy? I'm sorry. Is it pretty easy to maintain a temperature in those?
Yeah, actually, it is. The only concern is that when you're running low on wood, the temperature will start to go down, but it'll be gradual. So you can walk away, which I did do a few times, and just walk away, do something else, tend to the pool, kids, or whatever. You come back, and you notice it might drop a couple of degrees. It might be at 260 or something like that, but it holds very well. Also, Joe gave me a trick about keeping bricks at the very bottom. Helps also maintain the heat in between those times where you walk away. But it's not bad. It holds really steady. I mean, I have the side opened all the way, and then I have the stack almost closed pretty much, and it maintains it very well. And the wood does last quite a bit too. It's not like it goes by real fast. You think I smoked for 4 hours and used maybe less than a half a bag of chunks. They don't have the whole pieces down here. I've only found the whole pieces in Mesquite. But I had almost a half a bag of chunk wood bits, and yeah, it was good to go. And also like to add, after I got done with the ribs, I cooked about 4 round steaks along with the jalapeno poppers too, because my stepdad doesn't do pork, so I had to cook him some steaks.
On a smoker, there's 2 ways you can go with it. You can spend some money and get one that's made out of some thicker gauge steel, something between an eighth and a 1/4 inch steel. The heavier gauge steel absolutely will help you maintain your heat better because it doesn't transfer the heat into the air so quickly because it's thicker. There's more mass to hold it. Or you can go with a lesser expensive one. The Oklahoma Joes are really a lesser expensive model out there. They're good for what we do. But taking a line that with clay fire brick on the bottom, and that will substitute for the thick gauge, because those bricks that get hot and they emanate the heat off slowly, so that as your temperature gets hot, your firebox gets hot, your firebox gets cold. Bricks release that heat at almost a regular rate. So you can get a cheaper, less expensive smoker like an Oklahoma Joe's, but if you don't have fire brick, go buy some and line the entire bottom of it with those fire brick, and that'll it's an equalizer. It does the same as it does if it was thick gauge steel.
That makes sense. And being that I'm in Minnesota, I don't stop grilling because there's snow out, but a lot of people use like a thermal cover over the grill to maintain the heat. So that's why I was asking. But the bricks make sense.
I think if it was cold, if I was up there and I had to smoke on one of those, I absolutely would want the entire bottom lined with brick from one side to the next, so that especially reverse smoker like Vet's got, because that heat is going to travel right on top of those bricks. But my fire I would go hot. I would get a good blaze going in that firebox so that you have a chance to preheat those bricks before you put your meat in. But I think it would hold it. Of course, you're getting sub-zero temperatures or in the teens or even single digits, and I don't know, but the bricks should help considerably.
Well, this winter I'll show you guys me smoking shit in the snow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
My
gonna
grill's
be a
not getting put
segment.
up.
Go ahead, Vit.
No, I said my grill's not getting put up. Shoot, we get some pretty nice temperatures down here, believe it or not. So yeah, no, I'll be out there with a damn knit cap on, grilling, smoking. Trust me. But yeah, like you said, Joe, I'm getting my fire while my meat is sitting out of the fridge, getting the room temperature. I'm got that smoker hot. I've got the flames going, nice level of coals at the bottom just to get it going, and then a lot of wood in there, and to the point to where when you open up that firebox, the flames just shoot up and you almost burn your arm hair off. So yeah, it does help out. But I haven't seen any issues really with keeping the temp. It's been really nice. It's been a great purchase and a good addiction, but an addiction.
So, Vet, one last question. I apologize. If you were to reverse sear a steak, do you have a grate that you can put in the firebox to reverse sear?
Yes. Actually, this one came with a grate that goes right over the firebox. And when we had my daughter's birthday, not everybody's down with with all the fancy things that we do. We got kids, so they just want burgers and dogs. So that's where I cook the burgers and dogs is on that grill right there. So yeah, it comes with that extra grill or grate, and the grate is removable. Like, it's really easy. You don't want it there, so you're just smoking and you just want to throw wood in there to stoke it. You can just take it out, put it underneath the smoker on the grate, or you can put it in whenever you need to use it for like what you're talking about.
I like that. Thanks.
Give me a second. I'm looking for one that's got the lid open, a picture of the one with the lid open, and we'll show you. Now, this is not the exact same one.
But I did find it helpful for those times where you just need to cook some burgers and dogs, especially when you got little kids around. It's a great use. I saw it. I was like, I'll probably never use it. And then lo and behold, kids party, used it. So
Yeah, that's why I got a pit boss, was because you could open with a Traeger, you just have the deflector. You can't get an open flame, and pit boss was the only one that had the ability to pull the heat deflector back and open up that flame.
yeah, it's great. I'm loving this purchase, and just I love it so much, man. As soon as I get done smoking, there you go.
Well, the picture I'm trying to get up, I can't actually get there, but
Yeah,
this little
that's
box
closer
right
to
here,
mine. Yeah,
this lid right here opens up, Jason, and then there's a grill there so that you could do hot dogs, hamburgers, cook anything you would grill. It's essentially a grill here on this side box.
And with my reverse flow, my stack is actually to the right behind the main box. So it would be right above where that nipple is, where you can put the other. Yep, right there. And so that helps with the reverse flow. Now, that you can obviously, I've got the attachment where you can move it over to that side and do a traditional smoke and not do a reverse flow. But I haven't tried my hand at that. But I'm loving this reverse flow. I don't think I'll switch.
So is that top thing above the firebox, is that like a warming pad?
Actually, I do put the wood on there in case it ever gets wet, because I do have it underneath my grill. So if it rains and I feel like the wood's got too much moisture, even though to regulate some heat, I do put wood chunks in a bucket of water overnight. But if like my main stack gets a little wet, yeah, I set it on top of that flat space, and it just takes all the moisture out of the wood, and then I throw it in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is, Jason. You can put something there as a warm plate because that's your firebox right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're a good piece of equipment to have.
Yeah, my wife ain't gonna like it, but I might have another cooking apparatus on my patio.
Well, you'll have that sometimes. But all right, well let's we've only got 3 this week, so let's jump into my submission, which is flank steak, and then we'll go back and check on Bruce Wayne's progress with his brisket that he's currently doing right now. But this is what I did. By the way, the entire cost of this meal, feed 2 people, was about $12, maybe 13, 12 with some change. So just started with flank or skirt steak. They'll call it the same. It's almost the same cut, though. Some places you go that calls it something different. I only put simply salt and pepper. I used a TexJoy steak dry rub, and then of course I smoked it with mesquite wood. So they're the ingredients that you need. Not much. Season it, wrap it. I like to let it sit for at least 30 minutes to an hour minimum to let some of that salt kick in. All right, I'm gonna pause this so everybody can see something that you don't normally see. The wood you see there is mesquite wood. That's what it looks like before they chuck it up into little pieces and sell it to you by the pound. But that's what real mesquite wood looks like. Ooh. Okay, now remember I'm on a grill. I don't have a side box smoker. So my concern with this a flank steak's pretty thin. It's not going to take a lot of heat. It's going to get to temperature really fast, much faster than before it's going to ever absorb any smoke. So what I did was I put an apron in there, a curtain of aluminum foil. I built on the vent side, the firebox vent side. If you look at the top of the picture, you can see the green through there. That's the vent. So I built the fire near that. And I put this apron up to make the heat not come from underneath the product that I'm going to smoke, but to hit that and go up. And I'll show you why in just a second. All right, once you get hot, you're going to sear the steak over the heat. You're going to sear it on both sides, and I'm not looking for a real sear. See how wet that meat looks? That side has not hit the heat yet. See how wet it looks? That salt's been drawing the moisture out. This moisture sitting on the surface, and that doesn't help us with getting any kind of bark or getting smoke penetration. So I put it over there to kind of evaporate dry it off essentially, but evaporate some of the moisture off the meat. It's not long. It's 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes on each side. But I start out with putting it directly over the heat, over the fire, directly below it. There's one side. There's the other side. Okay, now I'm going to move it over from the heat area to an area that's under the smokestack. I'm going to pause it there. So we got the meat down below. It's on the opposite side of the curtain versus where the fire is. But if you look at the top, you see the vent. The reason I want to be there is that I want to get a lot of smoke, but I also want to get a lot of ventilation. I'm worried about heat. If I get too much heat on this piece of meat, I want to smoke it for two hours. If I put this over the fire, I could smoke it in 10 minutes. I mean, I could cook it in 10 minutes or less. So that's how fast this cooks. So the reason I do it there is that I want to keep the temperature low. That curtain creates a bump as it starts to draft through there. It'll hit that curtain and kind of kick the heat up towards the top so it's going out. But I'm still going to get plenty of smoke. So it's real important if you're smoking like I'm smoking on a grill that's not intended to do this, so the heat's an issue. Don't forget about that apron there. If you had another piece of material that would work better than aluminum foil, you could absolutely do that. But you want the apron to extend above the grill as well, not just below the grill, because the heat's going to rise up. You want that to be a push, so it pushes it to the top.
MacGyver would be very proud, my man.
So I'm going to smoke it for 2 hours. We're just checking on it there. Notice the color though. Now, smoke after 2 hours. See the color? Now I'm going to finish it over 2 to 3 minutes on each side. I'm going to finish it out on the hot side. So I wrap it for at least a 10-minute rest. And we go to cut it. Okay. My goodness, I keep hitting the wrong button, guys. Sorry. Get back to there, and I'm going to pause it. Okay. The way I initially started to cut that, that's going to be cutting it with the grain. And you don't want to cut this particular piece with the grain because it has a tendency to be tough. Now, the way we cooked it makes it pretty. It's about as tender as it's going to get. And it's not a tough piece of meat, but you want to cut it against the grain. You really want to cut all beef against the grain, but this one in particular, you absolutely want to cut it against the grain, especially if you're going to use it for tacos or anything else you want to use it for. But you want to cut it against the grain. Now I'm going to cut it for tacos in about 1 inch little pieces there. So I'm using, me personally, I like corn tortillas, so I'm using corn tortillas, but corn tortillas. By the way, Jason, I'm wearing my black apron.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was laughing at it.
I'm not ashamed of it.
You should be.
I'm not.
Shame is a good thing, Joe.
Cool. But if you notice that thin piece of meat, for it to be on the cooker for 2+ hours, it looks moist. I gotta quit saying moist. It's still juicy. Got everything it needs. And there's your little tacos. I will say that the smoke flavor come out very good on that. The tacos were great. That's what I had for lunch this afternoon. But what do you think about that, Bruce Wayne?
Oh, that looks fantastic. Yeah, that looks like a taco I'd eat for sure. No, really well done. I like the process. I like the results.
And the reason I want to show that it really is, now you can spend some more money. That was a small flank steak that I purchased. You can get some that are much bigger, and you'll spend a little bit more money, but still one of the most flavorful cuts of beef that you can get, and it's usually always cheaper than almost anything else. And you can still get some smoke flavor on it. And you don't have to do it 2 hours. You really could get some smoke on that in about an hour, maybe 1.5 hours if you don't want to go the full 2 hours with it. The only key to that is that it's not like a big piece of brisket where it's going to take a lot of heat over long periods of time. You've got to really watch that. Something that I was talking to you about earlier, Bruce, about you were saying that it's hot up where you're at and that it's difficult to maintain, your temperatures get too hot inside of your smoke chamber. What I will do is I'll go out and I'll dump it, just open it up and let it dump out, because that it will cool real quickly when you open the lid for less than a minute, and then put it back down. Kind of watch your thermometer, but you can control your heat that way by dumping it. And I had to do that with this a couple of times so that it didn't get too hot. But I maintained a good fire, a good heat, right about 270. 260-ish, which with the curtain in there, which makes that, if you imagine, it's like a bump as the hot air moves across laterally, it hits that curtain, gives it a bump, and then it'll stay above your product as it exits, but you still get plenty of smoke on your meat. So it did turn out real well. Thonic One, my fellow Texan, he says that mesquite, it's one of those weed trees that grows here in Texas. Pecan and cedar, yeah, he's right. All three of those will grow if you don't get out there and tear them up, they'll take over your pastures real fast. But we enjoy the mesquite. I don't smoke with cedar, and I don't like pecan so much either. But mesquite is definitely my go-to. But he's right; it is very plentiful here. But Vet, any comments?
Uh, like I said, I didn't mean to say it in between your show or while you were showing the video, but MacGyver is very proud. That's cool ingenuity right there. Never even thought of something like that when before I bought my offset smoker, when I was using something similar to that, where I turned a propane grill into a charcoal grill, and I would have loved that tip right there to be able to regulate that heat. But yeah, those tacos, man, they look fantastic. Me personally, I add a little bit of pico on top of that, man. I'm good to go, man. Nice cold beer. Yeah, those look fantastic, dude. I love the color that you had on that too. The color looked great.
Well, I appreciate that. The toppings on a taco, and some people like soft shells or soft tortillas. Some like crunchy. Some like tostadas. So that's kind of what I say. It can be the meat for whatever type of taco that you want to eat. And of
No,
course,
soft
you can
shells.
top
Soft
it.
shells are good to go, man. I'm a soft shell guy myself too.
I'm a corn tortilla guy. If I'm going to eat tortillas, that's what I want. I'm a big fan of the flour, but I do like corn tortilla taco. But Jason, what do you think?
When you cut into that, I was shocked how medium rare it looked for such a thin piece of meat. And you, correct me if I'm wrong, you started off over the flame, then put it on the cold side, and then finish it off on the hot side. And for that thin of a piece of meat, I was shocked to see how much color it had.
I've got a pretty good picture in there. Let me go back and see if I can find that. I'll save you off of my music, although I was very proud of my music choice on that one. Give me a second. I should have got better cross-section photographs there.
Well, I can see it. I mean, it's medium rare. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, and it does. It comes out real. You can get it any way that you want. You just have to watch this thin piece because it can get sideways on you real fast. And doing it on the grill, like I say, putting that aluminum foil curtain up makes a world of difference. And now, see, if I put the piece of meat closer to the door, away from the stack, I don't think you would have been successful with it. I think another key is that you want to be under the stack so you get a smoke that hits it, but then it's also creating a draft, pulling that away from it. In the heat, the curtain kicks the heat high, and the heat stays high at that point. And so the heat's escaping without getting onto your meat so much. But yes, I put it on the grill to about a minute or less. When I first go out, I put it directly over the heat like you're going to grill it. My purpose there is that the salt starts pulling a lot of moisture out on the surface. I want to get rid of that moisture. So I do that by putting it on the hot side, give it a flip, do it both sides. And then I take it to the cold side for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, or whenever I feel like it's right, I didn't have a thermometer on this one, but you can tell when it starts to firm up that you're cooking. Once I get to the 2 hours, or once I get to where I want to be, then I'll finish it out with a sear, and I kick the flames up. I put another piece of wood on. I got it good and hot, and then I dropped it on there for a quick sear, a minute, 2 minutes on each side, and then pull it off, and it's ready to go at that point.
No, it looks great. In fact, I might be running the store to make chicken tacos tonight after seeing this.
I didn't think about it. I've never done smoked chicken for tacos, but now you got me thinking. I may have to do that next week. That may be my thing. I'm actually
going to try it. I'm going to get some soft shells and put some of my shredded chicken that I made on. That looks good, Joe. Nice job. I've never done a flank steak. I'm going to have to try this.
Guys, don't overlook that flank steak. Once again, it is a inexpensive cut. It used to be real cheap. Then fajitas got popular, and it's kind of gone up a little bit. But it's an inexpensive cut, and it is one of the most flavorful cuts out there. People steer away from it because it can be tough. If you try to pan fry that, it's shoe leather. If you grill it and you don't grill it correctly, it's shoe leather. It really can be a very, very tough piece of meat. But I've got some tricks. If you just want to grill it for fajitas, doing typically a fajita dish, I may do a video on that on how to do that to make sure it comes out tender. But don't overlook that piece of meat. It is a very, very flavorful piece of meat. And Redacted says flank steak also makes an amazing chili Colorado. I'm not sure if I know what a chili Colorado is. Is it Colorado or chili that's made in Colorado? Or is it a different type of chili?
It's got a lot of beans in it.
Well,
Yeah,
that's not chili.
I don't do beans.
Yeah, chili doesn't have beans. I don't care who you Google, who you call, what your mama said. Chili doesn't have beans.
Yeah, I can respect your Texas myth for sure.
There we go. Redacted is a pure person. He is a pure individual, Mexican, no beans. There you go.
Well, hold on, he's backing me up. Texas chili, aka Mexican meat stew, is what you call Texas chili.
No,
Texans added beans to it.
you don't put beans in chili in Texas. It just doesn't happen.
Texans did.
No. But
Not modern Texans, not modern ones. Maybe some on the trail might have back in the day.
okay. Well, here's another Texan chiming in. What does Chthonic one say? Oh, no beans. There we go. But let's go back to what Redacted first said. He's absolutely right. If you think about the chili that Jason did last week, you could do that with flank steak, and I bet it would make it amazing. I've never made it, but out of flank, I've never made chili out of flank steak. But I think you're right, Redacted. I bet it would be the cut of meat in itself is an extremely flavorful piece of meat. It gets kind of kicked down a little bit because you got to know how to cook it because it's pretty tough. But you can't beat the taste on it. But you're right, Redacted. I believe that it would make an excellent addition to chili. Jason, you might think about that for your next chili cook.
I actually, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying like 6 ounces of sirloin and 6 ounces of flank, or maybe just flank and just substitute flank with the sirloin. I'm totally cool with that. I just don't want beans in it.
No, well, you can't have beans in it because you couldn't call it chili. It would be a farce. But you know what? You might just pick you up a flank steak and just grill it and make tacos out of it or something. You don't have to make tacos. You can just eat it. But to get an idea for that flavor of that piece of meat, it does real well. And it takes smoke real well, as you saw in what I did. But it was definitely a good set of tacos. I thought I was getting a piece that was big enough I might have some left over, but that didn't happen. I saved myself on the expensive cost of aluminum foil to wrap it and put it in the refrigerator because now it's just dishes to clean. But that's good, when it's eaten up. But Bruce, where we at on your brisket? Have you checked it?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I was just about to wrap it. So, yep, we're let me see, we got it going pretty good here. Not all that much smoke, but it is definitely, you can tell it's dropping a lot of fat. It's just about ready to go. It's about
Are you fat side down or fat side up?
fat side up right now.
Mm.
And, it's hard to see in the sun, but now that is hot.
Actually, it's looking pretty good. I think once you get a wrap, you may set some of that bark on there.
Yeah, you can hear it dripping down. I don't think all the fat's rendered, but yeah, no, it's looking pretty good.
Wrapping it will help contain the heat and render out whatever hasn't been rendered there. So you should be good with that.
Yeah, you will see. Smells good though.
So what is a single man buying a 10-pound brisket? I mean, how long does that last you? You taking it to work?
Kind of, yeah. I I bought a 16.5 pound brisket for under $5 a pound. I think it was like $4.20 a pound, and couldn't pass that up, so I bought it, cut it into 3 pieces, and yeah, the way it breaks down is I'll eat it every lunch for a week. I cut it up into thirds, smoke a third of it each weekend, and eat it all week, and works out to about $20 for lunch all week. It's a pretty good deal.
Oh, I thought you were taking some to your coworkers and feeding them there. You're just going up there and feeding yourself.
Hell no, yeah, I'm not sharing this. Absolutely
Bruce,
not.
You could take 12 ounces of that and do chili with it.
I
That'd
would.
be really good.
I definitely would do that. I also want to put some, take some of that brisket and put it on those poppers like that was making. Put a little slice of brisket right before you wrap in the bacon. I think that would be amazing.
Well, if I like one, HEB is a big store down here in Texas. It says they must have a sale when they limit how many you can buy, but they have a 2 max per customer on briskets right now. I may have to look at that. And the Redacted is giving us some background on some Colorado. Chili Colorado is basically beef stew that has a chili pepper sauce instead of a broth. I'm going to have to look into that, Redacted. That sounds like that could be pretty decent. And I'll be honest with you, when you said Colorado, I was kind of on the fence, like this is going to have some beans in it. But you come straight. And I feel ashamed that I was even thinking that way of you, my friend, Redacted. I won't let it happen again.
All I know is that I'm gonna gain 20 pounds after this smoke show, man. I'm gonna tell you what, man. We're smoking all this good food we doing. I'm telling you
Just
that
keep
right
going to
now.
the gym, vet. Just keep going to the vet. You go to the gym. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Think of all the good friends that you meet that come to your house and eat and be like, damn, that dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I did do that. Daughter's birthday. Had a guy come over. One of the soccer friends or soccer parents came over, cooked up the last bit of my deer, and he was like, "Damn, that's the best deer I've ever had." I was like, "Well, sir, I'm blushing. I appreciate that."
Yeah, and all the way home, his wife's like, how come you can't do that?
I was actually thinking Colorado chili might have like some marijuana in it.
Oh, damn, Jason went there.
Like the brownies. You're trying to make it like the brownies.
Now, I don't know that you could I don't know if you could put marijuana in like chili and meat stuff. I don't know how that would
that'd
work.
be gross.
I mean, you can basically anything that's rendered butter, but yeah, you wouldn't want to. That'd be gross, like Jason's saying.
Yeah, you'd have to use the synthetic stuff, the butters and the oils and stuff like that. I couldn't imagine.
Well, you all of it needs butter. It needs fat, so that's why they use brownies. They render it down through the butter. But I have had.
How do you know so much about this, Bruce?
But,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It's called college.
You learning how to make weed brownies in college?
Damn right, that's a class, man. You didn't know that?
Yeah, especially in Washington State, it's pretty much mandatory. But
cheese and rice. Hey, I want to throw a big thank you out to Redacted. He sent DM'd the recipe. One of us may have to make that for the smoke show coming up. Thanks, Redacted. No, go ahead. Go back to your marijuana brownies, Bruce.
I don't really know how to make them. Like I know people who do.
Uh-huh.
I know people who do, and you need to render that down into some type of fat soluble something or other, like whether that's coconut oil or butter. Otherwise, it won't affect you at all. But I do know I've never tried it, but I've heard people make lasagna out of it, which I don't know. Like I've never made lasagna with butter, so I don't know how that would work. But
I don't want to get intoxicated off my food.
Yeah, you're digging a hole, Bruce. Is there marijuana in your brisket?
No, there's not. No, see,
just checking.
Yeah, I was never all about that, but
he smokes his marijuana on the side.
See, I just get intoxicated off that mesquite.
Now, I do like mesquite. I do like hickory as well. In fact, I may try to find some hickory for some chicken. What are we going to do next week? Vet, do you have any plans for next week's cook?
I do not. I am open to suggestions, man. I actually need to go buy what if we come up with something I don't have in my deep freeze. I've got plenty of beef down there, but I think I'm out of brisket. I think I might have a rump roast. I might have another shoulder down there, but I'm open to suggestions. Please, anybody, audience, whoever's watching, drop them in. I'm more than willing to try my hand at something. Since I am one of the newbies in the show.
Have you done any pork yet?
Not just the ribs. Ribs are the first one, brother.
You should look at a pork loin, smoking out a pork loin. I think your family would enjoy one, and there's some unique things about smoking a pork loin that we could interject into the show.
Well, all right, then there it is. Pork loin it is.
Or burnt ends.
Ooh, that's advanced. Burnt ends are advanced. You got to be able to grow bark first.
Yeah.
I can do it. I accept the challenge. I accept the mission.
All right, we'll line that up, either the tenderloin or the burnt ends. Or Jason, what are you thinking about doing next week?
I'm actually leaning towards a smoked pasta, like spaghetti and meatballs or a lasagna. And I'm also missing just good old fashioned beef too. But I might lean towards the pasta thing. I got a few ideas on smoking the sauce, smoking the meat that goes into it, and just experiment a little bit.
You know what? That actually sounds like that could be a good idea. I can see. I don't even know if smoking the sauce would be necessary, but if you would just smoke your ground beef, that could be pretty damn good. So yeah, okay, I'm down with that. Smoked lasagna. If you need any help on that or any ideas, hit me up. Same with you, Vet. Hit me up, and I'll give you my best idea on how you think you can pull that off. Bruce Wayne.
Shoot, I'm also open to suggestions. I am.
Are you going to make another run at these eggs? Are we going to?
I will. Yeah, I think I might take a break on them, but I can do them again. I didn't really eat all the ones I smoked last time. They tasted good. They were just rubbery. So I need to make something that I'm gonna eat. But
what about a smoked macaroni? Anybody interested in that?
I would do that.
I've done that before. It's amazing.
You know what? I'll put smoked macaroni on my list. I'll do the smoked macaroni next week.
Actually, Bruce, I think a good thing for you, if and nobody's ever tried it since you have a pellet grill, is a smoked pizza.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work.
Well, you can do a frozen one.
Oh no, I'm not going to do that. Smoked pizza.
Now hold up. Now I don't know if you were in here. Jason has said that he has smoked frozen pizza, and he says it's pretty amazing, actually. So maybe.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't throw shade at it too quick, but even California Pizza Kitchen frozen pizza, it's nothing like their fresh made stuff. I'd kind of like to make a fresh made pizza, but then I need a dough maker and all that. We'll see. I might be able to pull some strings and get that made.
Or you can just put a frozen pizza in there and smoke it and see how it turns out. It could be a thumbs down.
I do have a couple frozen pizzas in my freezer. Last resort, I'll do that for sure. But I'm going to try to work something else out.
And we're missing some of our crew tonight. Big Ron is not with us tonight, and neither is John. We'll talk to them about what they're going to do. But folks, that's about it for our show tonight. That's all the content that we have. If you want to join us on an X Space, we're going to kick up an after party in about 10 minutes. If something you want a direct invite to, give me a DM and I'll shoot you an invite back when we kick that up. But we'd love to have you in there where we can talk about more smoke recipes and some ideas on what to do. We can take the conversation anywhere you'd like to go, actually. But I want to thank everybody for showing up, and I want to say appreciate to Vet and Jason for their contribution, the outstanding smokes. And good job on that, guys. Thanks, guys. Catch us at Night Court Monday through Friday. And we got some great shows lined up this week at 9 to 11 Eastern. 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern is our time frame, and we'll see you there. Thanks, folks.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent.
Have any occupation?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent.
Are you a known racketeer?